Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Today we're going to be looking at NDB approaches, and yeah, NDB approaches, which stands for non-directional beacon. And basically, how they work is you have a radar transmitter that's placed right in front of the airport or right next to the runway, and it emits a signal that your plane can catch. Um, and when you tune to the proper signal, you get a Morse code readout that lets you know that you are tuned to that particular station. In this case, our Morse code signal, according to the game, is going to be Charlie Oscar, and you're gonna be hearing that a lot. So it's kind of my bad there because I usually leave it on just so I know that it didn't disconnect or that I'm still on the right station no matter where I am during the pattern. Now, speaking of patterns, this pattern I kind of made totally by myself. I'm not sure what the actual legit pattern is. You'll see a document that looks official. It is in no way reference to that document because I kind of drew on it with a red thing on my phone. But let's go ahead and take a look, and I'll kind of show you what we're doing here. Excuse me. So, what we have here um, is basically our plane is going to start off at pretty much any altitude, and what's going to happen is we are going to enter at pretty much any angle, but what the primary focus is, we're intercepting the beacon over here. When we intercept said beacon, what ends up happening is then the needle on the gauge that we're going to be looking at in just a moment is going to flip. And when that flips, that means that the station has already passed behind us. Now, normally the gauge is calibrated to the compass card of 0, but we have a compass card back which rotates independently of the needle. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna dial the needle, the compass to a heading of 195, which is this heading here. And what we're gonna do is that when I turn on to that heading, you'll see the back end of that needle go towards the 25 marker, which is our outbound heading for the runway. This lets us know that we are either about to pass the runway or if we have already passed it. And what we do is then we do turn to 240, and then after that we make a 45-degree angle out of the outbound leg, and then come back at a heading of 105, and this should give us um a rough guesstimate or get us close to the actual heading of 060 when we go into the inbound leg. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of doing all this is, but I assume it will be for, um, like, um, I'm not sure if it's like a mathematical procedure or something, but it's what I was told by a YouTube video is proper, but again, there may be other patterns out there that are a lot easier, maybe a little bit more efficient, or that just get the job done. The only disadvantage I can see with this pattern is if you were in a formation flying, but then again, that also assumes that you can't have a racetrack orbit outside above the clouds while one guy goes in and so on. But again, the pattern does take about 10 minutes to complete, so that in mind, your group may run out of fuel before you finish landing or everybody finishes landing. So, yeah, not advisable, I would think. But we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna see how it goes, and I'm gonna kind of show you what I did, and I'm open to any ideas of improvement or any ideas of how to make this whole thing a little bit better. Now let me go and I'm gonna what's the word? I'm gonna start the game so you can kind of see what's going on. Alright, so let's get back to DCS. Alright, now, what gauges are we looking at? Well, primarily, I think the most important gauge in this system is going to be your artificial horizon. It's going to let you know your orientation of the plane relative to the horizon, which is kind of what you see out here. But when you get into the cloud and it starts getting dark like you see here, this is going to become our primary reference point. Now, we also have your radio compass, and then we have, radio compass, and then we have our gyro compass right here, and then we have our altimeter, and vertical speed indicator. Those 5 gauges are going to be very important for us, okay? Now, speed is important as well, but we're typically going to keep it around 230, 200 knots, okay? So it's not a big deal. Now, this is where you would adjust your frequency for the airport. Basically, you turn this on, and you turn up the volume, and you run this little dial here till you get the right frequency that you want. When you get the frequency you want, you'll see a deflection on this gauge here, which will let you know that you got a signal or how strong of a signal you got. But that's pretty much the basics. Now, we have right in front of us the airport, which we're going to be landing at, which is Stochiala, but you probably saw on the map there. And what's going to happen is I already tuned the card on the compass to heading of 195, which I will show you how that is adjusted. It's usually by this knob here, and I'll show you kind of how the methodology works for the pattern that we'll be flying today. But let me go ahead and start the recording, and I'll kind of narrate as we go. Forgive me, I may pause because the Morse code is still going and I don't want to disturb or disrupt any of you guys from understanding what's happening. So, let's begin. Pause.
Sushi, in field, 1, inbound.
As you can see, the needle is pointing straight forward. That means we're heading directly towards the transmitter. The airport we will be landing at in a few moments there. And while needle's going back. And just flip it. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn to a heading of 195, which you will see on the gyro compass right here. 195 should be about here. Now the key with this is when you start your turn, you're going to want to watch your vertical speed and make sure that you're keeping consistent altitude. Takes a little bit of practice, but you can use it. Heading 195, level out. Okay, and pause. Now, if you take a look at this needle here, what you notice is the NDB is just off to the side, about right here somewhere. And what you notice is we have a heading marker of 24, which is 240 going this direction. That is your outbound course. Now, it's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty close, and it's good enough for what I'm doing here. But normally these runways are going to have magnetic headings or some sort of magnetic deviation compared to the runway numbers that you're actually given for the airport. But for now, this is good enough. I have to learn a little bit more about how magnetic deviation works, but for now, that's what we're going to go with. So, if you see here, what you're going to notice is that as you get closer, the back end of that needle is going to start getting closer to that, or something like that. And what you want to do is then when you start turning to a heading of 240, you want to make sure that this line swings directly behind you, like a full 180. That would mean that you are, for lack of a better term, you are now going this direction, and the marker is right behind you. Alright, and let's continue. Takes a bit of guesswork, but you'll get it eventually. Okay, as you can see, it's a little off to our right hand side, but that's okay because we're going out a minute in a 45-degree angle, which should more than compensate for putting it back on the top path. Now I'm returning to a heading of 285. Okay, you guys might have missed it, so I'm gonna suggest that you go back a little bit. But I did adjust the compass card here, and now it shows a heading of 105. It's a little bit off, but basically that's kind of where we're gonna be heading off that 45-degree angle track, which you'll see here because I'm gonna show you. We're on heading 285 right now, and we're gonna go out for about a minute. Then we're gonna make a 180-degree turn to a heading of 105. And that's what I set the needle to. And I'll explain that why in a little bit. But basically, yeah, you see. So let me go back to the game. Now we're turning to 105. Just see on our gyro compass, it's gonna be heading right here. Right here. Notice you can't see anything. Complete darkness around you, but you're flying the plane through it. Kinda cool. Scary, but cool. Then see how I'm watching this gauge, this gauge, this gauge, this gauge. When we level out, I'm gonna tell you what's next. Okay, now, here's the interesting part. On the last turn, that's gonna make a difference between finding the runway or missing it. But honestly, in my opinion, you have to really mess it up to miss it. But here you go. You got 60 degrees over here. We're still tuning heading of 105. And you can see that the point of that needle is a little bit past 60. Now, what you want to do is you want to let that needle start to get closer to 60, then you start your turn. But, go to here, yeah. But, you have a lot of time to compensate. You got plenty of time usually. I mean, let's take a look at the distance from here. So, look at here. You are easily about 13 miles out at this point. More than enough time. More than enough time. Now, this is bad if you got other people flying with you, because they're probably going to be like, no, hurry it up. But, in all honesty, for what you're practicing, you're fine. So, alright. Now, let's take a look at here. Helen supposedly going to be 060, but I know there's a different magnetic course that's more accurate. I'm not sure what that is, so I'm not going to give you an answer on that. But, yeah, that would do. So, alright, so let's continue. Then I start my turn, gear code needle got 0 to 0. Now when you finish that turn, that needle should be pointing straight in front of you. That means you're heading directly towards that beacon. Gyro compass is staying 0 to 0. Needle is staying about 0 to 0. Or straight in front of you. So, you're pretty accurate where you need to be. So this is the money strut. This is the one that counts for everything. When I reach 200 knots, gear will start coming down and I'll pull out the lights and everything, flaps, speed brake. But speed brakes I usually don't use till I'm like right at the edge of the runway. Keep rocking grip. Just shift the gear. Gear coming down. Lights coming down. And you can see the runway just over there. Flaps coming down. And we are in our landing configuration. Now this is what it's going to look like from the cockpit. Now keep in mind this is foggy weather, this is almost nighttime, so not really good conditions. But you can see how depth perception is very horrible at night, so you gotta be very careful with that. You don't want to start the wheel down on anything unless you're sure you're over the runway. Little bouncy, but that's basically how you do it. Park here. So, uh, in all honesty, I think practice is gonna make perfect with approaches like this. I also think it's really important to learn how to fly with just your instruments only, especially with the weather that we just had in this sim. I also think that the benefits of learning how to use non-directional beacons, even in itself, is quite beneficial. Um, Now, in some ways, this is not going to apply because most modern aircraft have GPS and, these high-tech systems that are just a lot easier to use, less user error, so on and so forth. But I also think that when push comes to shove, say you lose satellite signal or you, for some reason are having problems with that system, to be able to fall back on an older, more rudimentary system like this, is a great skill and a great tool to use. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you. Only thing I do want to point out, and I really want to, kind of bring it up, is that DGS has a glitch with this map, which has honestly been, I think, going on for a few years now because I've read a lot of posts about it, but these one-way lights won't light up when you call the tower. Um, Now, I talked to the tower in the beginning of the video. I've asked for an inbound approach, but the lights wouldn't come on multiple times than the other times I've tried it. Now this time it's only on because I have the AI take off from this place, so that's why the lights are on. That's why I was able to film this video. But in all honesty, this glitch, while it frustrates me, it's also kind of one of those things where you gotta learn to work around it. But if you do, I would suggest either reaching out to Edie or figuring out some way of rectifying the situation because this is ridiculous. But anyways, that concludes the video. Thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day.